And will spend less than a year in jail for assaulting a former U.S. Senator from Arizona. It's a story we first brought you a year ago and have followed extensively. Martha McSally was visiting Omaha for a speaking engagement and took a jog at a Council Bluffs park where she was attacked. Our Johan Marin joins us live in the studio with the latest.
That's right, Aaron. Dominic Hinton didn't have much to say other than to plead guilty for his actions. The judge sentenced him to 360 days in Pottawatomie County Jail and 2 years of probation with sex offender treatment. Meanwhile, former U.S. Senator and combat pilot Martha McSally argued Hinton deserves more jail time for the trauma he caused her.
I was in pain and sick for 2 weeks following the assault. The trauma understandably took a toll on my body and my soul.
Martha McSally shares her testimony a year later after taking a trip to Omaha that she'll remember forever. The former U.S. Senator and combat pilot came for a speaking engagement. One Wednesday morning, she decided to go for a jog. And after crossing the pedestrian bridge to Council Bluffs, she was attacked by 26-year-old Dominic Hinton. She says he grabbed her in a bear hug and groped her. She fought back and ran. She says her description and security video helped lead to his arrest.
This type of sexual assault can completely derail the mental health of any woman or man. But I was committed to not let this sexual trauma derail me or get stuck in me.
Shortly after giving her testimony, McSally said she's grateful she was able to defend herself. Pottawatomie County Attorney Matt Wilbur agrees.
She was able to get through this with less impact on her life than it otherwise could have been. And who knows what would have happened if she had just passively gone with him.
It is my understanding.
Attorney Andrew Munger, who appeared with Hinton, said there are words to justify Hinton's actions. Munger did say Hinton was released from serving an initial 89 days. He's obeyed everything he's been asked to do, including going to therapy. Munger asked the judge to defer Hinton from going to a sexual offender treatment program. But both the judge and McSally say this.
I appreciate the fact that you have tried to make amends to some extent with what's going on. You know, sending a message and protecting society is the concern, which is really the underlying reason why I've denied your request for a deferred judgment.
To become a contributing member of society. That would mean taking full responsibility for these actions and decisions, apologizing for attacking me, which you just did, requesting versus resisting sex offender treatment program.
The judge is considering those 89 days Hinton's already served and if they will count towards his prison time. He's also required to register as a sex offender for 10 years and complete the sexual offender treatment program. On your side in the studio, Johan Marin, 6 News.
The Kremlin